Hey to the most amazing nurses. It is Dr. V here with Morning Infusion with Dr. V podcast, where we are intentional about teaching nurses how to work from anywhere around the world, making money and owning your own time, building profitable nurse coaching and consulting businesses. You will hear from amazing guests that have grown their companies and want to share insight into how you can do the same to change the face of healthcare as we know it. If you want to grow your businesses and leverage your knowledge as a nurse to grow wildly successful businesses at the top, instead of working your way to the top, head on over and join our Millionaire Nurse CEO group on Facebook, where you can ask questions and get updates on our live and virtual events to help you grow your businesses. Hi everyone, so good morning. So first of all, I would like for you to go ahead, hit the subscribe button, okay? Like, share, comment, because listen, we're going to be talking to Miss Courtney today, okay? So Courtney is amazing. So Courtney, I want you to tell the people who you are, all the nurses and all the amazing people out there in the world, who you are in your own words.
My name is Courtney Beck. I am an Oklahoman that I treat people, or I help people treat their migraines and neurological conditions with functional and integrative medicine. I'm a functional nurse practitioner. I've been a nurse practitioner for the last 5 years, and I got an extra certification to help heal people in a more holistic manner.
Okay, so is that what functional means?
Yes. And functional and integrative means that I take the functional means like more holistic side, but the integrative means I will integrate both Western medicine and holistic medicine and tailor a plan that is good for you. It's specifically tailored for the patient or the person that I'm helping.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so tell us, because you got a pretty interesting story. So tell us a little bit about, kind of your childhood, like growing up.
What? Yeah. Sorry. From the age of 9, I started having seizures and migraines, and they didn't know why. And every test or thing that was ran just came back normal. There was nothing wrong with me. So I went on to high school and college, started having more seizures and migraines, and my Florence Nightingale married me straight out of college. So luckily I got married at 19, and I say that because God put him in my life at such a young age, I was able to get through college with him there, because my life was a wreck in college. I was sleeping all the time. Did you not?
So now, who are you talking about? Your husband?
My husband, yes.
Oh, well, look at it. I love it. Okay, well, tell us. Go ahead. We're going to finish. We'll talk about him later, okay?
Yeah. So then I was able to go through nursing school with his help, with the medical side of me. And I was having seizures monthly. Migraines were keeping me in bed all the time. But I wanted to help people because nurses has helped me so much as I was growing up. And I just knew that's where my calling was. I went on to become a mom, still having seizures and migraines, a little more well-controlled. But my second pregnancy, I've had 3 kids, and my second pregnancy was awful. I had 2 seizures, grand mal seizures while I was at work. I then ended up having seizures in my sleep every day towards the end of my pregnancy, migraines constantly. It was a bad time. And we knew we wanted more. We knew we wanted more kiddos. And I was like, we got to figure something out. Or I personally have to figure something out. So that's when I started looking into functional medicine, and I changed my whole lifestyle, my family's whole lifestyle before I got pregnant with my son. And when I did that, I was able to go not migraine free, but seizure free through my 3rd pregnancy. And I chalked that up all to lifestyle changes, modifications with what I was doing with my medicine, everything that had to do with holistic stress relief and things we're putting into our body, things that we should be eliminating from our environment. All of that played a role in me having a seizure-free third pregnancy. And now that's what I teach people to do, is to get rid of those migraines in a more holistic manner. Because if you're not treating your migraines from a root cause approach, you likely will just be throwing medicine at it in hopes that something sticks and helps.
Yeah, that's what we're doing to most of the disease processes that we have, right? Okay, all right. So let's now that was the whole story. But let me tell you, we're gonna go back because I want to figure out. So tell me a little bit. So you said you went to nursing school because of you were with nurses all the time. Is that what the deal was?
Yeah, from the age of 9 to about 16, they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And I ended up being in the hospital a lot with having seizures and migraine. They called them migrelepsy. So they were migraines that looked like seizures, and they couldn't come up with a reason why. But there was 2 ER nurses, because I live in a small town, two ER nurses that ended up being there all the time. And they really played an impact in my life. And I was like, I got to be like them.
Love it. I love it. I love it. You know, it's interesting how that happens, you know, because I saw a nurse at when I was actually I was, you know, having these horrible menstrual cycles, and I saw a nurse, and I was like, you know, I really, you know, like her, and I really kind of like how she's moving. And so, but I didn't want to be a nurse, be clear on that. But it ended up happening. So here we are. All right, here we are. So, okay. So now you get into nursing school. Okay. And then once you get into nursing school, your husband, how did you meet your husband? So let's go there.
We were high school sweethearts. We met in church. I went to a small town school north of this bigger city, and he went to it south of this bigger city. And we met in the middle to go to church on Wednesday nights. We would play basketball together, and he sort of swooned me then. And we started dating when I was 16.
Have you ever seen the movie Love and Basketball?
I have not.
Listen, you need to watch that. Okay.
Okay. Right.
Because I've asked several people, you know, because we have some rapid fire questions at the end. And one of the questions is, what's your favorite movie? And several have said Love and Basketball. So you need to go watch it. It's a really good movie. And I think you probably can resonate with it. So you met at the church. You were high school sweethearts. Now, how did he help you get through college?
So we got married when I went through my first year of college. We got married the day after my finals of my freshman year, but we were at the same college at the time, and we were about an hour and a half away from our family. So anytime I was having a seizure or a migraine, he was Florence Nightingale is what I call him, my little Florence Nightingale. So he was helping me in any way capacity. And then I started having lots of seizures like in a row, and they couldn't figure out why. And he started filming them. And by him filming them, the neurologist was able to get a better diagnosis of what was going on. But he was like A+ advocate, not going to take no for an answer, not going to take we're going home today. Yeah, he was amazing.
He better do it. The fight for his woman. Now, why did y'all? So you know, most people wait until they get out of college to get married. Okay, Now what happened that y'all got married before y'all got out of college? Tell me about that.
We had already been dating for 3 years. I knew I was going to marry him, and we were living in Alva, Oklahoma. It was just really me and him hanging out there, and we were like, why don't we just get married? And then on top of that, we were broke college kids, and we thought, you know, hey, let's get married. Maybe there'll be some grant incentives, and there was.
Listen, you got to take advantage of it, okay? You got to take advantage of not being single. I know that's right. I love it. I love it. Okay, so now tell me a little bit about you started to have the seizures, and then you got pregnant. Mm-hmm. When you got pregnant, and because you had seizures and migraines through the first pregnancy as well, right?
Yeah, it was definitely something that I didn't take lightly. We knew we wanted kids. I actually went to my neurologist and was like, listen, in about 9 months or 10 months a year, I would like to be thinking about pregnancy. So he sent me to a specialist, and I got in with this specialist. We started tailoring a plan because the seizure medicine that I was taking wasn't really good for pregnancy. So we tailored a plan for me. I ended up on a lot of gabapentin, but it made it where my seizures were controlled enough. And we moved forward from there. I think I got off on track a little bit. I don't exactly remember the question, but
you had seizures through your first pregnancy.
Yes.
And you were telling me about, going through that first pregnancy. So the second pregnancy was horrible and you knew that you wanted to. So what was that mindset like when you said, I'm going to figure this out? Like it has to be different with this particular pregnancy. Tell me what that mindset looked like for you.
Well, first off, the pain is unbearable. Migraine pain is awful. You're laid up in bed, and you already have a kid running around, and you're trying to get through a pregnancy and not really enjoy a pregnancy. And then with my third pregnancy, I was like, I'm not doing that again. I'm not going to not be present as a mom, but also not be able to work and not be able to feel good through this pregnancy. I wanted to enjoy the pregnancy as best I could. And so my mind was made, and I'm once my mind's made up, you can't change it. I'm very headstrong. So to a fault sometimes, but it was good. It was definitely needed in the moment.
I tell people this all the time. I said, in order to be an entrepreneur, you have to have a very different mindset. You have to have that mindset that you're going to move forward. I was in Italy, so invited over there to speak. And the day after I spoke, we went to I want to say maybe a couple of days after, because if you want to go to Europe, you're not going to stay there just for one day, right? You're going to stay there for an entire 7 days. And so we were supposed to go to the Vatican, and we left the place that we were supposed to be at. We left the hotel at like 8:15. We were supposed to be at the place at 9:00. The traffic was horrible. Okay. And I didn't realize it was going to be that horrible. And so what happened was we got there like right at 9:00. And by the time we walked down, it was like 9:05. And so we were walking down the street, and this guy was standing there. Right. And I asked him where this place was, that the particular place was like a cafe. And he was like, so where are you going? I said, I'm going to the Vatican. And he was like, so what time are you supposed to be there now? By this time it's 9:05. Stop asking me questions to tell me where this place is, okay? But whatever, okay? So I told him the reason, and he was like, you're late. You're not going to be able to get in there. That's not what I asked you. What I asked you was, where's this place right here? Can you tell me where this place is right here? Okay. And he said, you're going to be late. And as I was walking, he was walking with me. He kept saying, you're not going to be able to get in there. I said, sir, I didn't ask you that. I didn't ask you that. Okay. And so finally we got to the cafe, and I was like, look, I said, where are these people right here? Because it was a certain group. And he was like, they're right there. And so sure enough, I went there, and they hadn't went in, because I don't take no for an answer either. I was like, no, you can't tell me. I'm not in a box. You're not going to put me in the box. I don't even think the box exists. And that's how you have to think as a nurse entrepreneur, but you really have to think that too as it relates to your life, right? And how you're moving. And now, afterwards you had a great pregnancy on your third pregnancy because of that. So now tell us a little bit about some of the things that you found to work for you.
So I have been able to cut down. I stayed on gabapentin this whole time, and you'll be shocked. I was taking 1,200 milligrams 3 times a day to combat my migraines, which is enough to knock out a horse. Mm-hmm. But I was able to cut that back pretty significantly. And I just started with eliminating toxins in my home. So soaps I use, deodorant, all of those things. I went through a whole elimination process, purging everything, candles, all the things. And then I started looking at my food. What foods am I taking in that are not necessarily healthy? I follow an 80-20 plan. 80% of the time I'm eating healthy. 20% of the time I'm going to eat the things that I want to eat. And we're going to be out, and I'm going to have to eat out at some point. That's my 20%. So really tailoring my life, changing that. And then also adding magnesium looking at the fact that I have an MTHFR gene mutation. So that means that I don't detoxify things appropriately. So getting more methylated vitamins versus just trying to put vitamins or whatever kind in, taking a functional hormonal test and seeing how my hormones were out of balance, and really balancing it with my diet.
So you want to come back. What is what is that?
Methylated.
Mm-hmm. What is that?
So a methylated vitamin is something that is broken down. So you go to GMC or wherever, and you get folic acid.
Mm-hmm.
That's, as a person who has a methylation issue, you're not going to be able to break down that vitamin to use it in its proper form. So you need like a methylated folate so that it's already broken down to a way that you can absorb it appropriately. And
all the vitamins come like
not
that?
Not all of them, but a good there's several. Folate specifically is one of them, and then like magnesium, there's 13 different types of magnesium, so you need to know the one that's more important for you. For people with migraine, it's usually L-threonate because it's the one that crosses the blood-brain barrier. So then it helps keep the brain not as tight and crazy, because we know that magnesium really is a relaxing element. So by having it be the one that can cross the blood-brain barrier, it helps that brain relax a little bit.
Now, how did you know that you had that gene mutation?
I ended up doing a 23andMe because I was like, something's up, something. I want to know more about what's going on with me. And this was before I got into functional medicine. But there is, I think the study is 70% of people with migraine have some sort of MTHFR gene mutation, which is a lot.
Okay.
And then like 50% of Americans, I believe. I could have those numbers a little bit wrong, but.
And 23andMe, what does that do?
It's just a gene test that I bought off of Amazon, but it broke it down to a place where I knew what gene mutations I had, and then I was able to tailor my the way that I took care of myself, like taking methylated vitamins and that type of stuff. It's not necessarily something that I'm like, yes, you have to have the gene test so I can help you, but it's a good helpful tool.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about the, like, inside your home. So what are some of the things you talked about? Deodorants, you talked about, detergents. So tell us some detergents that you had to kind of get rid of.
So like anything that the box stores are selling usually aren't great. You're wanting to look for things that are PFA, aluminum, phthalate free, because a lot of those things, your body is your second, your skin is your second stomach. You could really say it's absorbing things all the time. So it's trying to detoxify, but it's not doing a great job of it. So the less things you put on your skin that are toxic for you, the better you're going to be. The less you're having to try to get rid of. So at the deodorant, aluminum free, I don't know exactly which brand I have currently, but then Beauty is the brand that I have for my soaps, and I use it for face wash and my skin. I use castor oil for my lotion and coconut oil for my lotion, just depending on how my skin's acting. So I'm crunchy.
You're crunchy. What does that mean?
You guys never heard that term? I love it. I guess it must be a Southern term, but it's
I'm from the South. It ain't like.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know.
Like, do you not hear this Southern accent right here? But anyway, go ahead.
I do hear it. But so crunchy just means that you're like super holistic to the point where your friends are looking at you like, Courtney, come on, like, is that big of a deal? That's sort of the crunchy term.
I love it. You are too funny. Okay, so now what made you go from just doing it for yourself to opening up a business with functional medicine?
So I am currently a practicing family nurse practitioner, and there's only so much I can do in my wheelhouse as as a nurse practitioner in my clinic. So I can order some labs, I can do some things, but ultimately a lot of my patients want a pill or they want something, and a pill for an ill. And I want to be able to spend more time, more than 15 minutes with them, and really sit down and educate them, give them a base of where we could start, and get them where they're not on as many pills. And so once I felt like I was not treating my patients appropriately, but not giving them the best thing that they could be given, I was like, I got to do more. I got to do more. So that's when I decided to branch out and start my own business, so that I can order the functional lab tests that give me bioavailable hormones and more things like that, so that I can get a better understanding where you are in your holistic health. And then I can spend more time with these patients and spend months helping these people tailor a plan for them that is really more beneficial in the long term.
So tell me a little bit about some of the challenges that you faced when you started your business.
Oh, there's a lot, but marketing's probably the biggest one for me. I want to help people, and I'm a science brain. I know how I can fix your body, but telling you how I can fix your body and giving it to you in a way that is appealing on social media and getting my face in front of people has been hard for me, just because I just want to talk to people. I don't want to talk to a screen most days.
Well, sometimes you got to talk to a screen, Courtney. Okay. Sometimes you just got to do that. You got to do what you got to do, right? And marketing is one of those things that most of the time, the reason why most people don't do it is because, like you have the craft, but you are a marketer first, right? And so in order for you to be able to get the news out, and so I tell my clients all the time, I said, listen, do you want to help the people? I said, because if you want to help the people, then you can get it from that screen, okay? You can work it out. And so, and it can be nuanced, but if you have this, set amount of times that you do, like when I create content. So this is content right here. This is a portion of it, right? And then also using, artificial intelligence to break the clips up, right? That's another form of you being able to do that. So, like we can take this podcast down and we can, put it into one of the apps, and then it will clip it for you in 16 minutes, right? And then you don't even have to do anything, right? So, and this, of course, is, your traffic, right? Your organic, and then that's paid, and then there's borrowed. And so like what we're doing now is borrowed traffic, right? And so just really getting into that is definitely something that it can be daunting at first, I shall say, right? Because I was like, this is ridiculous. I don't want to keep doing this. I was like you. I mean, I have to be honest. I was like, I gotta make a video every day? What kind of shenanigans is that, right? But once I figured out that it was something that in order for me to be able to, because we don't want to be, everybody's best kept secret. And Darius Daniels said this one time. He said that whenever you are, you're a thought leader, right, in your community, what happens is people will look at you, because I have people who have followed me for years, and they have followed me because of the fact that I have years of following to follow. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so it makes it a lot easier. So I look to see you in these streets, okay, Courtney. I don't want to have to call you up and be like, Courtney, I didn't see you yesterday, okay? Don't make me do that, okay? Because I call you up. All right. So now what outside of marketing, what are some other challenges that you've had?
I guess you could call it imposter syndrome, but basically where I don't feel like I am capable. But I also feel that as a family nurse practitioner too. It's just I always feel like, did I do enough? am I helping this person enough? Do I know enough? Am I smart enough? So I think that's probably the biggest one that's holding me back the most, is because I feel like, well, if I get another certification, I'll be smarter. And if I get another training, I'll have more insight and I can help these people more. And there's always another certification. There's always another something that you could be learning. But if you have all these certifications behind you and you're not doing anything with them, you're still not helping people. So you just got to start somewhere.
Yeah, that is so true. And I think that that's one of the things that nursing has lended us to, is thinking that we have to get all these degrees in order to be in all these certifications, because they reward that behavior, right? Mm-hmm. They reward that behavior, by giving you 25 more cents an hour, which I found out was a hot mess, but whatever. It's another story for another day. But the deal is that it is true. And once I found out that there were people out here who did not have a degree, not one behind their name, and making money and changing people's lives, I was like, so why'd I get all these degrees in the first place? What is this about, right?
Why'd I spend all that money?
Right. It's ridiculous, right? And so I was like, this is making, the math ain't mathing, okay? And so it really, really changed my viewpoint, my vantage point on it. And so I believe that God gives us, we have to go forward. And I applaud you, number one, for saying that you have imposter syndrome and that you're still moving forward, right? Because a lot of times what imposter syndrome does is it stops people from moving forward because they think that they're not doing anything for it. But you have changed your entire life. You are your best representation, right? And so because you have changed your entire life, once you get out there and, obviously you're making a difference, you're still employed. So, I mean, it literally, it's like things are, I can't wait to see the blow up, Courtney. I can't wait to see the blow up because it's going to be amazing. Okay. I can't wait. All right. Now, tell me, we have these rapid fire questions at the end. Okay. So you ready?
I sure am.
All right. So what has been the most rewarding thing about nursing?
Well, I was a labor and delivery nurse for 5 years, and bringing new life into the world was probably one of my favorite things to do.
That's the reason you wanted that other child. Because y'all labor and delivery nurses, let me tell you something. Y'all be having some children, okay?
They're so cute. You just want to take them all home.
I'm like, what? Why is everybody over there pregnant?
All the time.
But let me tell you something. Us ER nurses, we love y'all labor and delivery nurses. I have to tell you a story. So we were at the so I was the charge nurse, and I had been a charge nurse for years by this time, right? And I never put anybody outside up front that was a cry wolf person, right? Every time somebody come in, they crying wolf, and it ain't really nothing, right? And so I always put people out front that knew how to recognize an emergency. So when they called me and they said, this lady is out here, she's about to push this baby out. And so I started running. And this one guy that he was a nurse, and he was like, I've never seen you run. I said, you haven't, so you probably should run with me. So we get out there and they start bringing, I said, she's pregnant. So they bring the stretcher. We get the stretcher out there. We put her on the stretcher and we take her upstairs. And I'm like, don't push. Because she's like, I gotta push. No. Don't do that. We're not having this baby in the ER, okay? We are having this baby on L&D, all right? So we got in the elevator, everybody. Like it was such great teamwork. We got that lady up there, like literally we pulled her over to that bed, and I was like, don't push. And they were like, push. And I was like, that's the difference between us. And so did she push, and she pushed the baby out. I said, hallelujah. See y'all later. Let's go. So I love it. So now tell me, what is one of the most common misconceptions about nursing?
I think that we get to a point where we don't care. Some people think that. I don't know if that's a common one, but I feel like I've heard it a lot recently after COVID that, oh, you guys don't care anymore. Well, no, we still care. We just know the science behind a lot of things. So we can pull back a little bit, or we can take our guard down because we know the steps we need to take. And sometimes when there's an emergency, we put on our emergency face and we get to work and then people go, well, that person doesn't have a heart. No, if I didn't have a brain to cut off the two, there would be a lot more dead people.
Right, exactly. You have to zone in for sure. I love it. So what are you reading now?
Ooh, I'm really not reading anything. Actually, Building a Non-Anxious Life by Dr. John Deloney. He is a clinical, I don't know what his degrees are, but he's a podcaster as well. Mm-hmm. And I listened to his show for probably 5 years, and he has 2 books that I just went to a marriage and money conference that he and a couple other people put on. And it was incredible because he does a really good job at counseling marriages as well.
I love it. Because the number one reason, which most people think the number one reason why marriages fail is infidelity, but really the number one reason why marriages fail is money. I love it. So now, who is a leader, living or dead, that you would like to have a conversation with?
This may sound sort of cliche, but I would say Mary, Jesus's mom, because I would just really like to know, or even Mary's mom, because how did she raise a child that was just so driven to be, that God chose her to be a mom. So I want to raise my kids in a place that they really have that burning desire to help people, to nurture people, and love people. And I would take all the parenting advice from probably Mary's mom.
That is very, very good. And people, I remember when my pastor, he was talking about the story, right? I grew up in church, so I've always heard the story, right? Mary got pregnant by God, and, she, angel came to Joseph. So I really thought nothing of it. But when you really think about it, my pastor was like, what if she came to y'all and told you that she was pregnant by God? So this what we doing right here? This what we doing?
Especially as nurses, because we're a little bit skeptical. We're like, let's think this through.
So I love it. So what is your favorite movie?
Me and my husband are really rom-com people. So like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days was probably my go-to for a really long time.
Oh,
so that's the first one that pops to my head.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Is that what?
Yes. Have you never seen it?
Sure.
No, girl, it's cute. So she's an article writer, and he's on a bet, and people that know him bet him against each other. So she's trying to get rid of him. He's trying to keep her for the bet. And so she's doing all these terrible things to lose the guy in 10 days for her article. And he's trying to keep her because it's a bet that he has to win. It's so cute.
That sounds very familiar. I may have seen that. Let me go back and see if I've watched that or not. So how do you define success?
I don't think success comes from a amount of money that you're bringing in or time that you've spent or whatever. I think it comes down to what's in your heart. And if you're continuing to move the bar and helping people, whether it's one person on the side of the road that needs help with their tire changed or whatever, mine's more about a heart change and helping people.
Sweet. What's your life's motto?
Oh, life's motto. I don't know.
That's my motto now.
just be humble, I guess.
Okay. Now, how can people find you, Courtney?
I'm on Instagram and currently TikTok. We know that there's probably a ban, but that's Courtney Beck _NP is my Instagram and handle. I've got a website, but it's not up yet, so I won't tell you that. But Courtney Beck _NP, or there's some links on those pages on Instagram and TikTok.
I love it. So, Courtney, it was a pleasure Pleasure
I loved
having you. We had a great time. We had a great conversation when we first talked. It has been amazing. So I ask you, ladies and gentlemen out there in the world, okay, I ask that you like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel because we want to get the word of the nurses out there. Download it on Apple Podcasts so it can work out really great. Now we do have a masterclass that's coming up, so tap into bpnursing.com to sign up for the masterclass. And you, ladies and gentlemen, have an amazing rest of your day.